Okay, I wanted to start a new reading. I want to start a new writing vlog for this summer. Last summer, I started in on writing a history project about the military division my uncle served in during World War II. I got through the introduction and the first 3 chapters, and then I ran out of steam. And really, what that means is I ran out of the work ethic necessary to get started. You know, I told myself, and I've been mocked by a certain booktuber for saying I was waiting till retirement to get started, and I guess I did. And I wanted to get started today, primarily because I want to make this writing vlog to hold myself accountable. I'm not sure that anybody's necessarily going to enjoy watching it, but to hold myself accountable for trying to get this done. You know, in some ways, if I am not going to finish, then I wasted all that time I spent writing the first 3 chapters, which I don't feel like was a waste of time. But getting started was more difficult. I have been distracted by lots of things, which is an excuse. I guess it is an excuse I'm using. But I did finally sit down yesterday, and I got started, and I was able to write for about an hour, starting on chapter 4, which in my writing project, I think I might have mentioned, I don't know, that I'm trying to go from the division level of a military unit fighting the Pacific during World War I down to the individual soldier, with that individual soldier being my uncle, and then take it at every level. So you get kind of a comprehensive, you know, increasingly orders of magnification as you go further and further down on what was actually happening on the ground. I've never really seen a history book that did exactly that. I've seen some that talk about the overall unit thing, and some that are, you know, the stories of individual soldiers, but none that tried to blend it all together and create kind of a coherent story from top to bottom. That's what I'm doing. Chapter 4 here, it was a little more difficult because it is just really a small unit operation. It's one of the more important ones that the company my uncle was involved in terms of the story of that company. And it is a pretty intricate history in terms of dates and actions and places. So I threw out what I wrote because what I'd written. I had written part of this last year. As you can see, I handwrite first and then I type second. It may seem like a waste of time, but that's my method. I'd handwritten about half of what would have been chapter 4. When I went back and read it in preparation for getting started today, I didn't like it. I didn't think it made sense. I didn't think it was very coherent. And so I just decided to start all over again so that the whole chapter would have been written more or less at one time with one kind of style point of view writing. And so that's what I started doing today. And what you can see me doing in the video, I'm primarily consulting one source, which essentially tells the same story I'm telling, but I'm going to add in there personal experiences from my uncle and from some of the other men of the company who wrote about their experiences on this particular part of the company's action in New Guinea. So I'm not sure that all made sense, but there you go. That was day 1. Today was June the 4th. I ended up writing for about an hour and 15 minutes. The dogs have proved to be more of a distraction to my writing than I thought. This is probably why I should go back to writing at night after dark, which, since it's summertime, means, you know, not really getting started till around 9 or 9:30. I'm kind of old for that, so I'm going to try to keep up with it during the day, but it has to be a challenge. I finished writing the section, what I'm going to call chapter 4. I finished the handwriting of that today. I have to go back and blend some information from another source in with what I already have. But tomorrow, the 5th, I should be able to start typing and get this section typed up. There were a lot of dates and kind of military maneuvers and kind of technical stuff that I wanted to make sure I got right here. In addition to that, my sources don't really have a good map of the geography of the place I'm talking about, so I'm constantly trying to, you know, make sure I've got my directions correctly and which way, you know, the company, the military company I'm writing about was moving. And it was kind of a challenging a challenging thing to write in a weird way. The bigger the military unit is, the simpler the writing is. At the company level, in a World War II company starts out around 170 or so men. At a company level, it gets a little bit more, the movements are a little bit smaller, and the scale is smaller, so the detail seems to go up. Anyway, I had a good day of writing. Looking forward to getting to typing tomorrow. Okay, June the 5th, I started writing at night. I'd finished the handwriting of Chapter 4 on the 4th, and so tonight was the first night I sat down to start typing. I'm really out of typing habit, and so it was coming really slowly, and I was misspelling lots and lots of words. It's really kind of frustrating. What I do when I type for the first time is I kind of edit as I go. That does slow me down a little bit. I don't do a hard edit, just obvious things I try to go ahead and correct. Repetition of words. I take out as many passive verbs as I can while I'm doing this first type. It's not a serious edit, and it shouldn't be something that slows me down a lot, but I was going slower today than I thought I would. Also, I'd hoped by waiting till, I think it was around 11 o'clock, when I started, by waiting later, that the dogs wouldn't bother me. Zelda definitely had other ideas. She kept coming in and out and interrupting my writing, and eventually it just got to be where after about 45 minutes of typing and dealing with Zelda, it was just easier to give up and go to bed. Plus, I'm not a young man, and I was tired and it was late, so I didn't get finished with typing Chapter 4 today. Not really much to say today. I sat down to try to finish typing Chapter 4, and again, the dogs, you can see it's daylight outside, the dogs and the barking and the people walking by really became frustrating. I've got to find a time when I have fewer distractions, when I can just sit and type. Come Monday, I'm going to try in the morning after my wife goes to work. Maybe the dogs will still be tired and there won't be as much stuff going on outside. I'm going to try that. Right now that's becoming really frustrating. It seems to be a bigger problem when I'm trying to type than when I'm just trying to write. Anyway, still didn't finish typing Chapter 4 today. Even though I spent another 45 minutes on it, I may get up and go and type some more later this evening. Well, after 3 days of trying, I finally finished typing Chapter 4 today. It went pretty well. I got on a roll there, got going a lot faster, in part because I think the events I was describing got simpler, in part because I think I was just more determined to get done. Dogs really didn't bother me. I waited till Zelda went to bed, which meant, by the way, I didn't start till, 11:15, 11:20. So I waited a long time for that, but I got that done. It came out to be, I think, just about 8 typed pages, which is about right. I didn't expect this chapter to be very long. As a matter of fact, I don't really expect the entire work to be particularly long. I'm guessing it will come in somewhere around, maybe 120, 130 pages, which will make it kind of short, but I hope it will make it, something that perhaps the University Press would want to pick up and publish, kind of almost like as a monograph. We'll see. I haven't been counting pages in chapters 1, 2, and 3, but this was all along going to be a short chapter. So when I finished typing, I started looking over my sources to get my ideas for Chapter 5 in order, so I can start working on the writing of Chapter 5 tomorrow. So what I do is I start off with the most general source I have, take some notes, in this case on little sticky notes, and then I will consult my other sources to put together, what I want to talk about from the division level down to the individual level again. But it was a good day of writing. I will probably do one more day and then post this writing vlog on Thursday. This was such a good day of working on my writing project on my book, and I think in reflecting on it, the reason is that I got to do my favorite thing, which is actually research. Historical research is actually what I like the most. Getting to the sources, finding the cool details, reading through and grasping the information enough so that all the filaments fall into place, and I get kind of a clearer picture. And then through the process of doing that research, seeing how to outline what I'm going to write, how to arrange the information, and it leads me to kind of get excited about the actual writing, which I find to be less fun. One of the things that really buoys me and keeps me going in this is just kind of how exciting or how good I think my sources are. They're not, unlike my other writing project book, these sources are not unpublished. As a matter of fact, you notice that I'm looking through books. They're not unpublished, but none of those published books has attempted to do what I'm attempting to do, and kind of the novelty of that is to me also exciting. But I just enjoy looking at my sources. I enjoy doing the research, and so what I did primarily today is I just took notes. I took notes. I got in my mind how I was going to arrange things. I firmed up some details about timelines that I was unclear of, and I got down to some real kind of human, interesting parts of the story that I want to tell about this infantry division during World War II in the Pacific. I got a late start on my writing today. Unfortunately, just things come up, obligations, entertainments, family time, reading some excellent books, which I've had a really good reading week, and then just, other things kept me from getting to my writing desk until seemed like it was almost 11 o'clock, maybe after 11, which means I think I only wrote for about 45 minutes. It was a good 45 minutes, but at some point, I was literally falling asleep with a pen in my hand, and I'm not sure the sentences I wrote were all that intelligible. So I decided to stop, but I got one big section of the next chapter, chapter 5, written, handwritten, which made me feel good. I feel like I have some momentum now, and that I will be able to keep going. So I think this will be the end of the writing vlog, and I probably won't make another because, there's only so much of this I think I should subject people to. I don't know how interesting it is to anybody, and like I said, I was kind of making the writing vlog as a way to keep myself accountable for working on this project and continuing on through the summer in the hopes of having a rough draft ready sometime by September, which then I can sit down and edit in earnest, and then begin the long process of going back and finding in more information, filling more in. But anyway, that will be for another time. So again, this is the end of the writing vlog, and I don't think I'll do this again.